Hi, everyone. This is Scrolling with Charlie, and Charles is not here this afternoon. Unfortunately, he was doing some yard work, I think it was, and anyway, he had an anxiety attack, so he called me at the last minute and said, "I'm not going to be able to go on, so you go ahead and do it." This is season one, episode 20 tonight, and what we're going to be talking about is Intarsia. I know very little about Intarsia, and but I have brought someone on tonight. Now, Mark Sherman, I know he's done some Intarsia. He's done some Eagles and everything, but I brought someone on tonight as a. I think I'm not showing myself, so I'll just change it over to make sure. But I brought someone on tonight that is going to be able to show us and talk to us about some Intarsia, how to do it, how he does it, and he's actually very good. I'm going to let him introduce himself last, so we'll start off with John. If you want to introduce yourself and talk about yourself just a little bit, and we'll go from there.
Hello, everybody. How's it going tonight? My name's John Cousins from Wood If I Could, Scroll Sawing and Woodworks up in Grand Prairie, Alberta. I got a fire going in the background. I don't know if it might be too loud to hear right now. I do mainly scroll saw work with spiral blades and working on an Excalibur. I've done a couple Intarsias, not too many. I'm still not iffy whether I really want to get into it or not. Same with doing lathe work and stuff and everything else. So, enjoy the show. Any questions I might be able to help you with anyway. Back at you, Russ.
Trying to unmute myself there. There's too many things to do at one time tonight. So next we're going to go to Mark Sherman. If you want to unmute yourself and tell us all about yourself.
Wait, John, what are you burning in that fireplace? Firecrackers?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Mark Sherman from Bellevue, Nebraska. Been scrolling since the 90s. I scroll on a 30-inch Excalibur. I have been doing all types of scroll saw projects. Lately, I've been doing Intarsia, so I guess that's the reason I'm on tonight. I've done several projects, but most recent was an Eagle, but before then it was over 10 years ago since I've done mini Intarsia, so I do have a little bit of experience. So let's see, I'm looking a little sunburned today, kind of matched my shirt because I was at the Nebraska football spring game, and I had over 76,000 people at the game, so I've got a little bit of sun today because it was a gorgeous day here in Nebraska, so go Big Red.
All right, pretty cool. I am Russ Clarity. Everybody knows me. I'm Charles's co-host, and once again, I'm running it tonight. We missed you, Charles. I'm really worried about him because he wasn't doing good at all, and it's not like him to write just at the last minute to say, hey, because at first I told him we were going to cancel, but at the last minute he said, yeah, go ahead, and I'm like, all right, so no big deal, we can do it. I've been scrolling for about 35 years and then been doing woodworking all my life, so you can reach me at simplywoodencreations.com, Simply Wooden Creations on Facebook, and Simply Wooden Creations on YouTube. I've just started doing some YouTube videos. And now we're going to get to our guest tonight that I've asked and invited on. His name's Bob Bloodworth, and I'll let him introduce himself more and talk about himself and where we can reach him and all his sites. Go ahead, Bob.
Hey, Russ. Can you hear me, first of all?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. At least we got that taken care of. I'm Bob Bloodworth. I have these website, scrollsawparadise.com. A lot of you may know me. I've got quite a few videos out there. I do all kinds of scroll saw work. You know, Intarsia is one of my favorites, but I do fret work and, you know, pretty much anything that your typical scroll sawyer is going to do, making moles or, oh God, going blank right now. But anyway, I make pooping puppies and stuff like that too. I also do pattern work. I design patterns and make my own patterns. So if any of you need a pattern, you know, look at my site again, scrollsawparadise.com. I'll put it up here in a minute. We'll actually go to it. Intarsia. It's for people that haven't done it out there before. it can be extremely intimidating. It can be just because a simple piece of Intarsia looks so pretty, so beautiful. It's just a piece of art, and it looks so much harder to do than it really is. It's really not that difficult. And that's why I put up a whole series of how to make a simple Intarsia project to show people exactly how easy it is to do Intarsia. It's not that hard, and you don't have to spend thousands of dollars on sanding equipment to do it.
Now, Bob, when you said you have a whole series on that, are you referring to the on your Scroll Saw Paradise on YouTube? That's where we.
Yeah, I won't go to that. No, yeah, well, I have. It's on YouTube and it's also on my on Scroll Saw Paradise.
Okay.
You can get to it either way.
Okay.
But what it is, it's a 6-part. Well, actually, it's 6 or 7 parts. I did it a while ago. I don't remember exactly. And it's a simple seashell. And I kind of got thrown in this late today myself, so I'm not super prepared. I would have loved to have had a seashell made for you guys to see, to actually see, but I don't, because I didn't know I was doing this morning. So anyway, what I'll do is I'll just take you to the website and show you, how to get where everything is, and you can also get a free pattern for the seashell, and you guys can make your own seashell if you want. They're really simple to do, and let me just see if I can figure out how to do this.
Yeah, screen share can kind of be fun.
Yeah, well, the bar on the left went away. Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay. So let's see if we can. Let me know when you see my screen, guys.
Okay.
Does that mean you see it?
No, oh, not yet.
Because I clicked screen share and I don't really see anything happening.
Present to everyone. You're presented to everyone, so try it again.
Okay.
Do you have multiple monitors, Bob?
No, I don't. I only have the one. No, I don't. I only have the one.
Okay.
All right, let me just try it again. Presented you to everyone. You presented me to everyone. I clicked screen. Okay, there we go. You are presenting to everyone. So let me. Okay, does everybody see that now?
Nope, we're still seeing you.
Oh,
Not unless you.
God, that's an ugly sight too. Man, I'm sorry, guys. I was hoping to show you something pretty, not me.
Try just put your screen down and let's see if we see what we see. Just minimizing this one screen that you're on the video and see if we can see anything. Usually we see an acid trip though. That today that when we were practicing with it, we usually see that and then you minimize it down and then you can see your screen.
Yeah.
But we're not seeing that today or tonight.
No. Okay, well, this is going to put a big wrench in everything. Okay. Well, what the heck? Intarsia, painting with wood. All right. This is actually the very first piece of Intarsia I ever did. The little teddy bear, little Santa Claus teddy bear. This is a pattern that I found online. It was free somewhere. I don't remember where it was, so don't ask, please. But what you can do is just do a little Intarsia Santa teddy bear search on Google, and I'm sure you can find it. Let's see. I don't know how well you can see that, but I like to make the backs fancy.
So you put a solid piece back. Oh, you've also got your a penny in there and your logo.
Yeah, I've
on
got
there.
my stamp. It's a solid piece of. See, I always want the back to look just as good as the front.
Right.
A lot of people don't care what the back looks like. I'm picky about that. I like the back to look as good as the front does, because when somebody does take it off, they're going to see. I've got my signature on there and a penny with the year I wrote it, and you don't want it to look crappy on the back.
I
Anyway,
agree. I do the same thing on a lot of my stuff, even though I put a backer on it, and it's supposed to hang up against the wall. I agree. I make the backer, I put lacquer on it, and make sure it's sanded and looks just as nice as the front.
Right. You know, it's called being a craftsman, being professional. Do you guys have questions yet?
If y'all have any questions, go ahead, Mark, or
Any questions? I was really hoping to get to my website so that I could get a conversation and everything going with the seashell.
right.
But let me see if I can get back to that and get that going again. It says I'm presenting to everyone.
Yeah, and then go up here and click your screen share.
I don't see anything that says, well, I did that. Let me do it again. I'll try it one more time. I don't know why it's not working. I'm kind of laggy here. Are you guys seeing me all laggy?
No, actually, you're not laggy to us.
Because I'm very laggy to me, which is not making this any easier.
No, you're fine as far as us. Mark, Johnny, y'all seen him all right? Yep, they're both shaking their head, yeah.
Yeah, not a problem.
Good, because I can't see people shaking their heads.
Only thing that we could possibly do is I could screen share and go to your website, Scroll Saw Paradise, and then.
Okay, yeah, that'll work. We can do, yeah.
All right, give me just 1 second to.
Should I do the stop presenting to everyone?
Yes. Let's see if I can find it.
Yeah, my computer's not happy.
Mark, if y'all want to ask him some questions while I'm doing this to keep us entertained.
Help, please.
All right. I will attest to watching Bob's videos because he got me kind of back interested in doing Intarsia again, and I have seen the 6-part seashell thing, and I really enjoyed it. He uses.
So you're the one.
Used the. Oh yeah, you use the sponge pad sander, you know, with a Velcro sanding disc on there, and I bought one after I saw that video, and I really enjoyed using it. I got it mounted on just a simple hand drill that's clamped to another my rigid oscillating spindle sander that I have used, but that the disc sander the sponge disc sander is very, very helpful and does a great job. So.
It is honestly.
Used it and showed you that, so.
It's probably one of the best tools I've ever purchased. I use it for almost all my sanding now. You know, I put it on my little drill press, and the thing is just so handy. Any project, not just Intarsia or scroll saw. If I'm making a box or actually I made a frame. I'm making a big portrait right now, and I'm making a frame, and I sanded the whole thing down on the frame on the little disc sanders that I have. I still can't screen share. So,
all right, hang on.
Are you having any luck with getting to my website?
Yeah, I've got your stop presenting to everybody. I'm going to present myself, and then we're going to see if entire screen share.
Yeah, I have the orbit sander and a bunch of what's that big?
Now y'all should start. Y'all should be able to see my or your website on my screen.
Yes, I do. I see it now.
I see it.
Okay.
Okay, so you're going to need to follow my directions very carefully, Russ.
Okay.
Okay, go to you can click on Pattern Hut or the link, the tab on the top. First of all, wait a minute. Before you do that, this is my website. I know it's kind of hokey, but I built it myself, and I'm not very good at this stuff. But anyway, I do every 2 or 3 weeks, 2 or 3 times a month, I do send out a newsletter. So if you want to participate in the newsletter, just throw your email address up there, and then you'll automatically be signed up for the newsletter, and I will be sending one out probably within the next week or 2.
Okay.
Okay, now go to the Pattern Hut.
Go to free patterns or entire or seashell pattern.
Seashell pattern.
Okay. There you go.
Okay, I'm laggy, so I'm not seeing it yet. I gotta wait a minute. There it is. Okay, they're quite the delay. But anyway, this is a very simple, very easy Intarsia project. Actually, a lot of people might call it segmentation, because it's different pieces. You can actually do this and cut it out of one piece of board, which is considered segmentation when you do it that way. But you can also do it with a bunch of different pieces of wood, and that's obviously Intarsia because you're using the different colors, different varieties, different shades of wood to make everything pop.
Now, what are the arrows that you have on there? What are those for?
Green.
That's an awesome question, Russ. Basically, it's grain directions.
Okay.
Okay. This is a seashell. It's Mother Nature. It's natural. You know, you want to get general. Anytime I see an arrow on any Intarsia pattern indicating grain direction, personally, I look at that and I try to match up a piece of wood, kind of something sort of like that arrow is pointing, if that arrow makes sense. Sometimes it just doesn't make sense. You know, a lot of times the people that design these patterns just throw them down real fast. It doesn't mean, arrows don't mean a whole lot. Use your own artistic ability, your own creativity to lay out the grain the way you think it's going to look the best. Because ultimately, you are the one in charge of your project. You know, it's not the person that drew a pattern that might, you know, live 1,000 miles away from you. It's you. You've got your hands on the wood. You're sitting there in front of your project. Ultimately, it's your hands are going to determine the outcome of the project. So don't be afraid to change things. Make it your own a little bit. If you think piece number 2 needs to be twice as wide, make it twice as wide. If you know, anything, you can shape it, sand it however you want. It's all up to you how you want to do it. The pattern is simply a guide, you know, and I think I elaborated enough on that.
Okay.
Okay, now all you've got to do to get this pattern, you know, it's simple, right click, you know, save as, and put it in a file and then print it out.
Yep, right click,
You know, that's
save
typical
image
with
as, and then I'll just save it to my downloads. So that's all you got to do to get the pattern if anybody wants it.
Yeah, that's pretty basic computer stuff. Okay, now if you go up to the tutorials tab there, Russ. This is cool. It's like I've got an automatic mouse. I'm hands-free.
Yeah.
Okay, I believe if you scroll down a little bit more. Okay, yeah, right there. That one there that's where you can get to. You can obviously go straight to, if you click here I am pointing at the friggin' screen. Sorry. My
That's all right.
language there slipped a little bit. If you just click on the YouTube tab, it'll take you to YouTube, or you could do that. But you need to watch them in full screen. Yeah, I don't think you should do it here on this.
Yeah, I just clicked on it to show everybody how it was going to work, that you could go over there and watch it on the YouTube.
Yeah. Did anybody's computer monitor break when that picture came up?
No.
Okay.
So I see you've got quite a few word art, desk plaque. You got quite a few.
Yeah, I've got like 30 videos up, or well, at least I've done more than that, but not all of them are up.
Right.
And right now I am, and in fact, you guys don't know this, nobody's aware of this, and I'm going to throw it out there, Russ, but in the weird world of scroll saw message boards, Russ and I live about 2 miles apart from each other.
Yeah.
You know, so we were talking today, and I'm working on a project. It's Kathy Wise, you know, one of the girls that, when it comes to Intarsia designs, that seems to be Kathy Wise and Judy Gale Roberts are the two big ones.
Right.
But anyway, I've got her book, which is actually this book right here. And in this book, I probably should have went through this page first. But there's a horse head in here. That was really cool.
Now, are we going to be showing anything else on your website, or can I close this out?
For now, yeah, close it out.
Okay.
That's good.
Yeah, because we can always come back if you want to come back to it.
I'll hire you again sometime.
Okay.
You did fine.
Let's see if I can make my way back onto y'all.
Oh, you know what? I cut it out. That's why it's not in here. It's actually on the workbench right here. Okay. But anyway, we're going to work on a horse head pattern next week, and Russ showed interest in coming over. So not only am I going to teach Russ about it, how to make the horse head, but I'm going to videotape it too.
Yeah, I told him
so that I can put it up
about
as
if I can help him video it and
instructional
everything. So let's see if we have. What I got a question on here from I believe it's Dave Sherman. He wants to know, what do you use to sand your parts?
Okay. Give me just a half a second here.
No problem. Bob is open for questions if anybody out there watching wants to. Mark, John, y'all don't have to stay. If y'all have anything you want to ask him. I think.
Okay. This is what I use.
He brought his whole drill press over. Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And this is what I attach to it. It's a little disc. This one's beat up, and after a while they wear out. It's time for me to get a new one. This is 220 grit paper. Can you guys see this okay?
Yeah, I'm seeing it.
Okay.
Hold it up just a little higher. There you go. Right there. Perfect.
Okay.
That's in the
This
center.
is a 3-inch sanding pad. It's spongy here, and this is just a hook and loop sanding pad. Like I said, 220 grit. You put it on there. You stick it in your drill, turn your drill on, and here's an example. What I would do now, I'll pretend this is like this, but I'm going to show it like this. You just take your piece of wood and go like this, and in a heartbeat, it shapes your pieces, and you can get a lot of really cool shaping on it. Can you see that all right?
Yep, we can see the little.
Yeah.
I forgot
This is
the name
the
of
stem.
Yeah, the stem and
The stem of the lily. Okay, and these are just little pods. These are cherry. That's purple heart. We got some aspen here. This is bubinga, or it might be bloodwood. I don't remember. But all of this shaping, all these little pieces here, all that intricate stuff I did with this.
Wow.
I did it all with this. I don't.
Now, if you want to put your drill press back, we'll give you a second. And
No, it's all right. I can just.
where do you buy that? Where do you get that? What's it called?
I'm actually on my website. You can get them from my website. Have an affiliation with Amazon, so I get like a 2% commission if you guys buy it there.
Okay.
It helps me out a little bit, but I'm not getting rich by any means. But you can get them there. They're like $20. And the one kit
I see Mark holding up a thing from Klingspor. You can get it from Klingspor also.
Yeah, the Klingspor one I have, but it's a lot more expensive. And these things, they're going to wear out, so you might as well get a cheaper one. It's going to wear out anyway.
Now, my question is now do you buy the disc from you, or can you use any 3-inch disc on it as long as it's hooking?
Any 3-inch hook and loop, where this is the soft side and this is the
Right.
loopy side. Any 3-inch.
Yeah, Lee posted.
There's nothing special about them.
Lee said that he thinks that Sandflea has one also. But I mean, if yours is cheaper, heck, and if they're going to wear out, I'd rather have the cheaper one.
Well, it's $20.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's a
And
small, a very.
It's
small
not
investment.
mine. It's not mine. It's just one I found on Amazon.
Right.
Which I found is a better deal You know, I don't sell them, I don't ship them, I don't do any of that. I just put it on my website because I found it and I think it's cool.
Right.
And, you know, it's usable. You know, and
just to let everybody know, the Q&A is still open, so if you have your questions, post them in the Q&A, and we'll get to them and ask Bob. John, you got any questions for him?
well, you know,
Not currently. I want to have some later, though.
Okay. And Bob just dropped out on us. Or you should have asked him why he was here.
Too late.
Might have to, yeah, he's going to have to probably back out and come back in.
Well, for I'm looking in the Kingsport catalog to find out how much.
I was going to say, Mark, for some reason we got an echo coming from you, and I'm not sure why. You've never had it before. But it's definitely coming from you.
Check your sound settings in the bottom corner for your computer. You might have speakers or your mixer open at the same time.
Yeah, and we've never had it before from you, so I'm not. That's kind of weird. You of all people have never had a problem. It might be because if you got everything out of that room because of the flooring coming in, it might be just an echo from the room.
And I know Lee.
I'm using my Bose computers, my Bose speakers instead of my computer here. So.
Oh, okay.
I know Lee asked a question about excess gaps. I know that when I do Intarsia, basically you just do like you can make multiple patterns for your different woods, or if you're doing segmentation, you just use the same piece of wood, just use a really thin blade. Just don't sand the edges off. That way they just join back up together again.
Yeah, somebody had asked, said something about that, and I think was it you that asked that just a minute ago on?
Oh, it was Lee.
Oh, it was Lee. Okay, Lee. Well, hopefully when we get Bob back, we can ask him that question. That's the one thing I've learned about having these hangouts. You have to have, in all sincerity, a pretty good computer with a pretty good video, and yeah. I'm gonna have to mute you, Mark, because all I can do is hear the echo, echo, echo. So sorry about that. So yeah, hopefully we can get him back on here. If not, it's going to be a real short show. People are saying, there goes the neighborhood. John Schaffner, Dave Sherman says, got a black screen. I hope we're still there, guys. It's showing up on YouTube that we're still here. I think Bob just dropped out, and I'm not sure why. I think from everything that I've seen, that Bob's up real close. I think you do sometimes get a little bit of a gap in there. I mean, think about it. First off, you're cutting the piece out with a scroll saw blade, so depending on what size of blade, if you can get by with a number 1 or whatever, naturally the gap's going to be smaller. So I think the gap is kind of inherently going to be there. But I think you're right. If you start sanding on that thing down in between the grooves, rather than rounding it off, I'm sure that you could make it the gap worse. So that's just my observation from looking. I've seen some of Bob's work up close, and he does some really nice work. I was hoping to get to see. He has that hummingbird pattern and the cross pattern.
Like, I've only done a couple of Intarsias. Like, I have Bruce Worthington's Dragon in front of me right now, and I'll show it to the screen here in a second. And I know that the cuts that I did with my scroll saw, after you sand them all down and round all the corners off to give it depth and everything else, that you actually don't see the lines on them anymore. So, like, I'll show you a close-up right there.
Oh yeah, you don't notice them as much, I guess.
Yeah.
Did you? I'll try not to talk when you're talking, Mark. But Mark, did you notice when you did yours on your Eagle, was there a problem with the gaps in between the pieces? He's doing something. Donna Presley asked, where do you get the sanding thing? Bob has it on his website, and it's scrollsawparadise.com. That's scrollsawparadise.com. He has them on his website where you can buy them from there, and he said they're only about $20. So if you want to check there, Donna.
All right, I'm back. I think I got my sound worked on.
Let me talk, and I'll let you know. Let me see. Testing 1, 2.
Yeah, I got no echo on this end.
Are we better?
Yep, didn't hear an echo that time.
All right. Yeah, I'm looking at the CleanSport catalog to see how much I spent on that sander. I only use CleanSport just because I already use a flutter wheel when I do my Intarsia also. So that's where I just went to. So the flutter wheels aren't a bad price. They're not a bad tool to use for getting into the small crevices. The sanding pad that Bob uses is excellent, but sometimes it does leave a little bit of a gouge sometimes if you get a little bit too close to the edge of your work. So let's see. They have, hook and loop pads for bowl sanding. It's only $12.95 for that's just for one, a 3-inch disc. Or $30 for all three. 1-inch, 2-inch, and 3-inch.
Now that is just for the pads themselves, not for the whole thing, right? For $12.95.
This is just the pads right here.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and then when I bought my when I bought the pads, I also bought the discs and stuff. They come in like a box of I believe 50 in a box, and so I bought like the 120 grit all the way to probably a 400 or 600 grit. So, and I don't even think I went that high when I did my Eagles. So they have for a box of, let's see, a 50 pack. It's like $15 or so for a 50 pack of the 3-inch discs. So it's not a bad price, but like I said, there's many other places that do sell them, but that's who I went through. Well, actually, it's a little bit, well, that's for the 2-inch discs. So probably like $18 or so maybe for a 50 pack.
All right, Bob's going to try to get back in. He just called me on the phone, if y'all heard that. So I'm resending him the links to see if I can get him back in.
All right.
Yeah, that's like I said. That's the unfortunate thing. A lot of people don't have their computer doesn't have enough video power. What I mean by that, the video card plus the extra RAM that it takes to run the video card to get online and stay online. So that's unfortunate. I've known Bob for a couple of years, and I've seen a lot of his work. I'm hoping I can get him back on here. He can talk a little bit more. He's got a cross that he does, and the original cross, the lily that went around the cross was kind of a flat pattern. He showed me what the pattern originally looked like, and he actually did it more like 3D, where the lily actually went around the cross. And I was very, very impressed when I saw that. But
that's the one that he had in his background behind him.
Yeah, that's the one. Somebody's asking, here's Bob back again. Does the wooden teddy bear blade orders usually take a week? This is from Danglewood, Dan. I'm sorry, Dan, it's hard. Ingle Bryston. Hope I said your name right. Dan, all I can tell you is from my experience, when I ordered from Wooden Teddy Bear, I ordered, this is way before they took over from Mike Murlock and handled their blades. I ordered some Olson blades from them, and they took me 3 weeks to get them. So they're claiming that they're beefing it up, and you're supposed to be able to get them within a week from the time you order them. Several people that we've had on the show it's texted in and said, yes, that they were getting them a lot quicker, that they were getting them within a week, not 3 weeks. So That I can only tell you what I've been told. I haven't ordered from them since they've taken over, because as soon as I heard something about it, I ordered a big order from Mike Murlock to make sure I had blades and didn't have to worry about it. So good luck is all I can tell you. And we got Bob back, so go ahead, Bob.
Well, that was embarrassing.
Well, I tell you what, don't be embarrassed, because it happens to a lot of people. It's video Hangouts requires a lot more video. It requires a lot more computer than Skype or anything does. We've noticed that for a lot.
So I'm not the only bonehead out there then.
No. We've had Charles has dropped out. I've dropped out. There's several people that. One night we were doing it. I couldn't even talk on. We had thunderstorms in the area, and I couldn't even hardly talk. I just had to sit here and listen.
And one day it didn't even record us. So.
Yeah, one day it didn't even record us. But get back to. I want you to show a few more of your things. Do you have that cross that you showed me that you did?
Yeah, but wasn't somebody asking, and were you in the middle of asking a question or something?
Oh yeah. They were talking about whenever you did it. All right, naturally, I know you have the kerf of the blade, regardless of what size blade. Even a number one's going to leave kind of a gap between the pieces. But how do you help prevent the gap between pieces, even when you're sanding them? How do you do that?
You can't ever prevent the gap. You're always going to have a gap. Okay, the trick is, how do you handle that gap? Okay, and it's hard to describe. That's why I made the 6-part video. It's number 5. You can go in there and watch how I did it. I have very close-up work and show you exactly how to hold the 2 pieces. And you basically, after you cut 2 pieces, you hold them together with your hands, and then just push it through the blade. And you have to do that several times, but it's hard to explain. It's much easier to show. And so if you go to the YouTube or my website, whatever, and pull up the video number 5, it gives you a very in-depth explanation as to how to get rid of gaps. But that's funny, because some people are so afraid of gaps. I had a friend that she wouldn't do Intarsia for a long time because she was afraid of the gaps. She was saying, I'll have gaps. She was so worried about the gaps. Well, we got past that. And once she learned how to handle gaps, she makes all kinds of friggin' Intarsia now, and she's great at it. But she was scared of the gaps. And everybody has a little bit of fear of something, but hers was the gaps. She got over the fear of gaps, and now she's a Intarsia monster. But anyway, you had said the cross. Well, here's the cross that he's talking about.
Now, originally that was more of a flat type pattern, correct?
Here, I can show you the original pattern right here. Let me show you the original pattern first. This one I know is in here. Okay.
Okay.
All right, there's the original pattern. You can see it was meant to be mounted on a wall.
Right.
It wasn't meant to be stand up. It was meant to be mounted on a backer board and hung on the wall. Well, I didn't like. I mean, it's a beautiful, little plaque, but I just like to do things a little differently. And so what I did was I took the same pattern and modified it to be a 3D standalone on a base.
Oh, that's cool.
You turn it around, you can see how I wrapped the stem and the leaves all the way around it.
That's fantastic. I like that. I really like that look. That's cool.
It was a challenge to figure out how to make the stem wrap, and I don't have a pattern how to do it. I just kind of made it as I went, cut a little bit here, fit it here, cut a little bit there, fit it there. So I really don't have any way to replicate this. Even to make it on my own again, it's going to be a pain in the rear. But it was a fun project. It was challenging, but I like a challenge. Oh, and you see the hummingbird on my avatar there?
Right.
Here's one. I do a lot of these. I make a lot of these. People buy these like they're going out of style.
That's very
You know?
pretty too.
And see what I do is I like to make them 3D. What you see how the wing is coming out?
Right, right.
You know, everything is off. You can't see it in the flat picture, but everything is very.
Now, whose pattern is that? Is that in that book of Intarsia?
No, this is a Kathy Weiss. You can get this pattern from Kathy Weiss.
That's very pretty. That's very pretty also. And I like the teddy bear also behind you.
Yeah, well, like I said, the teddy bear was a free pattern you can get online. Now, does anybody have questions about wood or
The question I was going to ask is when you start doing Intarsia, obviously you're using a lot of little pieces, so you don't need actually a lot of wood. So you could actually go buy a couple of board feet of aspen, a couple of board feet of bloodwood, and you could get by with that. You're not going to need like 8 board feet of aspen or 8 board feet of bloodwood, correct?
You're exactly right. That's the other beautiful thing about Intarsia. Once if I like to get my wood from Ochooch, if I'm ochooch.com, it's just one of the places online where you can get wood. I just prefer that place. And you get a 12 foot by 24 foot or 24 inch piece of wood, and it's going to cost you $10 to $20 depending on what type of wood you get.
Right.
But that one piece of wood's going to last you through a lot of projects, especially when you're doing just Intarsia. If you're using it specifically for Intarsia, you can spend a little bit of money, but that money's going to go a long way, because I think I had one of those. It wasn't 12 inches wide. It was like 4 inches wide, 24 inches long. I think I made 4 of these out of the brain fart. Leopard wood. It's there's another word for it. Lacewood. And I made like 4 or 5 birds out of just that one piece, and I sell these for a decent amount, and so the wood pays for itself because you can get so many projects out of one piece of wood. So that's a benefit to Intarsia that a lot of people just don't think about.
Now, I know you're probably not going to want to say this, but what do you actually charge for that piece of Intarsia? Because a lot of people are going to want to get into Intarsia, and we've had a lot of people ask Charles and I and a lot of others about how do you price things. We don't know how to price things, so I mean, can you talk about that, or is that just a...
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I don't have a problem with talking about it. Pricing is very difficult. It depends on you as a person and how long this is going to take you. If I actually spent 8 hours a day working on this, man, my face is red. What's up with that?
I don't know.
Well, I guess it was after you guys kicked me out. I went to the bar and had a few drinks. What was I saying?
It was about the pricing. Like, for instance, how much do you charge for that hummingbird?
Right. If I sat down and did this in like 8-hour shifts, it'd probably take me a good 3 days if I did straight through, just cutting pieces and putting them together, and I probably could do it in 2 days maybe. But how much is your time worth is the problem. And the other thing you have to look at, and this is something people don't look at very often, you can go online to Etsy.com, which is where a lot of people sell stuff they make. It's all for handmade stuff. And you'll find patterns similar to this, and they'll sell them for $20 or $30, and it's like, what's wrong with you? That's crazy. You're not making any money at all. You can't do it for $20 or $30. I sell this when I've sold them from $175 to $225.
To me, that would be a pretty good price, around $200.
And I think it's still too low. I think I could probably be selling them for $350 because they're that nice.
Oh, I'm not discounting what you're saying. Yes, I would think $350, but my point is I could see that you could sell it for $175 to maybe $225 in that range right there, and be able to sell them, because for some reason that type of or woodworking in general down here, especially in Florida, just doesn't bring as much money as it would up north. I've got some questions here that I need to get to.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. When you're selling online, that doesn't matter as much. My
Yeah,
sales are online, so
yeah, that's true. That's true. Bob Rawson wants to know, or he says, "Wow, those are fantastic. I want to have a go at it. Which woods would you say would work together for a beginner?" In other words, he's asking, what kind of woods would you say if you're going to start off?
well, the thing that's the hardest thing to do when you're starting is where do I get the wood? That can be a challenge. Home Depot and Lowe's actually do carry some hardwoods that will get you started. Oak is a hardwood. Poplar is a hardwood.
Mahogany.
I'm sorry?
Mahogany would be a good one too.
Mahogany.
I've never seen that at Home Depot or Lowe's, but that doesn't mean yours doesn't carry it.
Well, we have it at our local Menards, which is like a Midwest thing. So it's cut like a big box.
God, I wish I lived in the Midwest.
Yeah.
Because I got to pay up the butt for mahogany. But don't use softwoods. Softwoods such as pine. Well, cedar. Actually, I'm going to recant that statement. Okay, you can use softwoods. Actually, this is the one time in woodworking that softwood is good to use.
Yeah, you used aromatic cedar in your seashell in the center part, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, and a recent little find that I was at Home Depot a couple of weeks ago, and I was looking at 2x4s for some stupid reason. I don't remember what it was, but I needed 2x4s. And I looked at the 2x4s, and they were all blue pine. All the friggin' 2x4s were blue pine. So I looked at this, I go, well, darn, I bought myself a bunch of 2x4s, and now I've got a bunch of nice blue pine. And blue pine is great for, like, water or sky backgrounds. If you're making a dusk or something like that, a scene that with the sun going down or water, blue pine is a great wood for that type of item. Because it's got gray and black stripes in it, it looks like water. So you can use it. You need something that looks like water? Get some blue pine.
All right.
And you can buy 2x4s and cut the 2x4s up and use the 2x4s.
Donna Presley asks, I have the sanding stars. I'm not sure what those are. What would that work as well if I tried Intarsia?
Sanding stars?
She said sanding stars. I don't know what that is.
I don't either.
I would just by the sound of them, I would say no if they're shaped like a star because I think that would catch your work off.
You know what I think she's talking about? She might be talking about the ones that have the little grantons on them for the bowls.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That wrap around.
Yeah.
Baby, it's got so that
All right,
you
well,
can.
Donna, we're not quite sure what you mean by sanding stars. She has another question. What thickness of wood is best for starting you've never done Intarsia before, and what glue do you use?
Typically, most of your Intarsia is going to be 3/4 inch.
3/4 inch?
You don't want a 3/4 inch thickness. That's pretty much standard. And if you need thicker, we do what... let me grab a little piece here.
What kind of glue do you use?
Let me hang on. I'll get back to the glue in a second.
All right.
If you want to have a piece like on this teddy bear, this is a great example here. Let's see if I can get a good view of that. Okay, can you see how the nose is up higher than this piece?
Yes.
Okay, this is 3/4 inch, but in order to get the nose to raise up higher, it's still a 3/4 inch piece of wood that I used for the nose. You simply cut yourself they're called risers in Intarsia. Small piece of plywood. This is 1/8 inch. I just happened to grab that because it was sitting there. You could use 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch, depending on how high you want to raise whatever piece it is you're working on, and you just cut a little riser block for the particular pieces that you want raised up in your piece. That's a very common thing to do with Intarsia.
Cool.
Okay, now the glue. I've got I use a bunch of stuff. Okay. I know certain people say you got to use CA glue with all this spray stuff and hardener, and it's like, oh, yeah, you could do that. Sure, go ahead if you want. I just find that too much work. Aleene's tacky glue.
That's some good stuff. I've used that before myself on a lot of stuff, and I really like that too.
This you get at Home Depot. I mean, I'm sorry, not Home Depot, Walmart.
Yeah.
You can get it at Walmart, any craft stores, Hobby Lobby. They all are going to sell Aleene's. And Aleene's has 20 different types of glue. The original's fine, you know. And then there's Type Bond too.
Yeah.
But I use the Aleene's tacky glue.
Lee Knight wants to know, would Gorilla Glue work?
It's a CA glue, yeah. Gorilla Glue would work if you're talking about the CA type.
Yeah, not the
Any
foaming.
glue is going to work. You can use epoxy if you want.
Yeah.
Okay, but you're usually dealing with a lot of pieces. You just need your pieces to get basically held together. Basically, another point here.
Donna Presley has another one. What finish do you use over the wood? What kind of finish do you use?
Okay, let me finish with the glue, and then I'll get to the finish.
Okay.
Okay. Or how are we doing on time?
That's why I'm saying we're running almost an hour into the show. We can run over.
Oh, are we? Oh, okay. Well then, okay. Maybe we can do another show at some point or something.
Sure.
Or when we make the horse's head, maybe
Right.
we can do a online thing.
Right. That'd be good.
See what we can work out.
Yeah.
But okay, the glue. Use any glue. Use a Type Bond to put the backer piece. This is a backer piece.
Right.
Okay. Actually, this is a riser piece. I made this because I wanted the whole flower to be up higher. So that's a riser piece. Okay. This is a backer piece. It
Right.
covers the entire thing. Okay. When I glue the backer pieces on, or when I glue on the riser pieces, I like to use the stronger glue, which is Type Bond, or any professional woodworking glue, or even epoxy. I'm learning to love this epoxy stuff, man. I use it a lot for other stuff. I just made a frame and I put the corners together with the epoxy. My God, fantastic! Within 10 minutes, I had the frame together because it dries so fast, you know. And then you sand it down, and it worked fantastic.
All right.
Really
What
did.
about finish do you use over the wood?
I'm out of deft. I typically use what's deft, but it doesn't matter. It's just a spray lacquer.
Right.
Here's two different, two
I'm
different
really
kinds.
starting to like, in all sincerity, I'm really starting to like that Rust-Oleum that you just brought up. I
Right.
started using that about 2 or 3 months ago when it first started coming out in Walmart, and I find it just as good as the Minwax or any other lacquer. But that's Minwax, the stuff you held up in your hand, that one, that's like $8 a can at most places, and I can get that Rust-Oleum lacquer for $3 a can at Walmart.
Yeah, I did $2.75 or $3 for this.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's like, so
And the way I to put this on, I'll try to speed this up. Spray a coat on, wait 10, 15 minutes. It'll get good and hard. Don't do anything. Spray another coat on, wait 10 or 15 minutes. Spray another coat on. Don't do anything. Just spray the fourth coat on, and take a piece of paper bag. Even though paper bags are getting really hard to find nowadays.
yeah,
They really
everything's
are.
plastic.
Yeah, everything's plastic. So even some steel wool, the double-aught steel wool or 4-aught steel wool, whatever you can find, and just lightly brush off the last coat. And you don't need to waste all that time sanding between coats, because lacquer, it all adheres to each other. So you spray on the first coat, the second coat's going to adhere to it and blend in together. And the fourth coat, so you get all the dust that might have gotten into it out of the air. You just take it with a piece of, like I said, a paper bag or 4-aught steel wool, and you're good to go. And blow it off real good if you have a air compressor.
I want to bring up one thing. Mark Stallings, I believe, put on there. It took him 4 days to get his blades from Wooden Teddy Bear. So, like I said, once again, I don't know what to tell you about this new Wooden Teddy Bear deal. Some people, like Mark Stallings, just reported that he got his within 4 days. I've heard other stories, so all I can tell you is that Mike's out of business, and we're having to get him from Wooden Teddy Bear. I would say one thing: if it's taking you longer than a week, for definitely sure, I'd be calling them up and complaining. Definitely call them and complain about it, because I can't figure any place it would take more than a week to get blades to you, unless they need to hire some more people. But we'll give them a chance.
If I can jump in,
Marion, our friend Bob, she wants to know, what are the basics of Intarsia.
Oh, yeah, right now. She's
yeah.
just at the
well, actually, I think she actually probably posted that a little earlier, and I'm just trying to get through.
Okay, let me say one thing real quick. I do through Amazon. I don't sell the blades myself, but there are places on Amazon where you can get Flying Dutchman blades. I offer them through my site. I don't sell them myself. It's just a portal. But I haven't heard any problems with people getting their blades. You know, so if you want to try that. If you don't, that's fine. I just offered it there too because it's a different place to get them.
Yeah, I think Donna Parsley also
said Teddy Bear is going to be fine.
Donna Parsley said
just give him a chance.
In 4 days. Also, yeah, I would like to say one thing. They just took over from Mike Morlock, so yeah, give him a chance. Yeah, give him a little bit of think. Bob Rawson said, just to get into before you finish, great info. A big thank you, Bob, for spending the time and showing us. So somebody was telling you thank you there.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm trying to go through and get to as many questions as I can before we have to get off here. What thickness of the blood? You already said 3/4 of an inch. I think I read that one. I appreciate all the questions, guys, coming in. Charles does a much better job of this. He's been doing it longer than I am, so kind of like bear with me. I'm on Bob's site. The 3-inch kit's only $9.99. It's $19.99 for a 3-piece kit with 1, 2, and 3-inch pads. So somebody's telling about your site.
Right.
Somebody put on Dan Inger Bryston said the ones people are selling, if they sell those hummingbirds for $20, are probably batching them out on a CNC machine and using inferior wood. I would agree with you. I don't see anybody making any of those things, even the little teddy bear you made or the seashell.
You'd be surprised.
For that. Man.
You'd be surprised. They're spending the time and doing it, and all you gotta do is go and look on Etsy and type in Intarsia, and granted, it's pretty crappy stuff.
Right.
But for people that haven't seen it, don't know, it's bad.
Here's another one from Dan Inger Braxton. He says he checked the mail today, and it's been exactly 1 week, and he got his blade. So, yeah, we're gonna have to give once again. We're gonna have to give him a little bit of more time.
They'll get their act together.
Yeah, I'm hoping so.
I just want to say one more thing. Any of you that have Intarsia questions, you can get a hold of me at my website. I have a contact page there if you have any questions or need advice or anything. It doesn't have to be about Intarsia. It can be anything scroll saw. You know, anything that my website covers or doesn't cover. Just go ahead and send me a note, and I'm pretty good at getting back to you.
All right, we're going to go over just a little bit. I know, John, you had mentioned something before. You might have something to ask Bob. You want to go ahead and get that out of the way now before we close out the show? If you have anything you want to say to him or ask him?
My question basically was just with sanding, though. You basically just use your foam pad on your drill press, and that's it? Like you also have like orbital sanders and flat sanders you use?
I've got this for really small stuff. Okay, this is one of those. It's a Dremel basically with an extended shaft and the little bits in it. You know, for really tight stuff. And I can put sanding disc on here as well. You know, you can put I've got a burr in here right now, but you can put a little sanding pad in here. For the really small stuff, you can use this. But I don't use it very often.
So in other words, you don't...
Not much that I can't sand with the other discs.
So in other words, you don't use a random orbitable sander to do any of that work?
I use a random orbit for flats. There's nothing flat about Intarsia except the backer boards.
Yeah.
You know, I'll use it on the backer boards.
Right.
I bought big stuff fast, but that's about it.
I bought a set of the rubber drum sandings, right? These ones here.
Yeah, you can use them. There's nothing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, it's skipping, so I stepped on you. I'm sorry.
So I bought a set of those. I started using those, and they seem to work for me, but I just need a riser on my drill press to use them. That's all.
Yes, that you do. That you do. You can use those. I've got a set. I used to use them, but since I got the other stuff, I don't use them anymore because I don't need them. Yeah. You know, I can do better shaping with just a sanding disc, and with the sanding pads, the cool thing is it's very easy to change grits. I didn't say this earlier, but you can start with an 80 grit, knock everything down real fast, you know, get it out of the way, and then you can take it down to a 150 and down to a 220 or whatever. The kits come with a 400. I use the 400 because it's there. You know, I don't have to. A 220 grit is fine with Intarsia. If you got a 400 pad, use a 400 pad. It's okay.
Next in line is Lee. Lee Knighton, you do have anything you want to say to him? Or asking a question you want to ask?
I feel like I stepped on you guys.
No, you ain't stepped on us. Hey, Lee, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Do you have any question you want to ask Bob real quick?
No, you guys pretty much answered it about the gaps. That's the only thing I had.
All right.
Thanks.
Next, Mark, you have any last thing you would like to ask Bob?
No, but I'm wondering, the thing people sometimes talk about gaps in wood, if you, say for instance in my Eagle, if you cut like 5 items at a time of the same piece of wood, the pieces are all right next to each other, and you use a really thick blade, then you're going to have huge gaps, as opposed to like using like a 9 for a 5 or whatever. Been chatting with Kathy Weiss. She also uses number 5 and number 9 Flying Dutchman blades. But if you have like if you're doing three wings all side by side using number 9, you're gonna have big huge gaps that are not gonna line up, you know, in adjacent to another piece. So that's another topic about gaps and stuff. So people sometimes are worried about using too thick of blades and all your pieces coming together too quickly or too close, and not being where they're supposed to be on the pattern. So.
Yeah, I think that's just kind of like within reason to say the larger the blade you are going to use, naturally it's going to be the larger the curve. And I got news for you. Unless it's a real hard wood like Bubinga or something, I have cut 3/4 inch cherry, 3/4 inch mahogany, 3/4 inch oak. With a number 1 blade. Now, I didn't cut a lot of it. I was cutting some intricate pieces and some crosses and stuff. But my point is, I would think a number 3 Flying Dutchman would be plenty big enough to do some of those some of your Intarsia stuff. That question back to you, Bob. What is probably one of the most size blades that you use to cut your Intarsia?
Basically, I would say my number 1 blade is the number 3.
Number 3? Yeah.
Yeah. A 3 or a 1, because you can cut anything with a 1. Anything you can cut with a 7 or an 8, you can cut with a 1. If you know what you're doing and you can cut, you know, teak. Teak is,
yeah.
Oh my God, that's incredibly hard to cut. Okay, and Bubinga is a tough one too.
Yeah.
And this flower is Bubinga.
Yeah, see, I think that's the problem that people naturally, and I'm not trying to discredit real quick here about people and the size of the blades. And number 1 is a very small blade, but if you slow your feed rate down, if you take your time, and what you're doing, Number one will cut. Like I said, I've done some crosses with some very 3/4 of an inch thick with some very intricate cuts, and I just knew that the 3 was not going to make it, and went ahead and threw the 1 in, thinking like, all right, I'm going to go through 3 or 4 blades, no big deal. And I was surprised. I cut all those intricate pieces out of that one cross with a number one blade, and I'm like, holy crap, it worked. So the blade slow yourself down, and the blade feed, slow it way down, and you can make those cuts. So a number 1 or a 3. Go ahead, Bob.
My philosophy when it comes to blades is the smaller the blade, the better, because the kerf is so much smaller on a number 1 as opposed to a number 5 or a number 7, and so there's not as much drag as it's cutting through the wood. You don't have as much drag because the kerf is smaller, so it's actually easier to cut most of the time, even on thicker woods, because the kerf is so much smaller. Now, I wouldn't use the one caveat to that is I wouldn't necessarily use a reverse blade, an ultra reverse blade, or a reverse type of blade. You want speaking of Flying Dutchman terms, because that's pretty much all I know, the polar blade, where the blades just go up and down, because you want the wood from the kerf to be able to get out of the middle of the piece of wood, because if the reverse teeth push it back up into the wood, then you're going to create a bunch of heat. It's going to pack into the middle of the wood, and it makes it dulls your blade really fast, causes your blade to break. You think you can't do this anymore. You get pissed off and you throw your piece across the room. I've done it. So
right. So you're saying that you use a polar rather than a skip tooth or anything, or an ultra reverse? You're using a polar blade most of the time?
Yeah, on a lot of things I do, because, like I said, you want the thicker the wood, the more likely you're going to get wood packed into the middle. If think about it, if you've got teeth on the bottom of the blade, you got teeth coming down, pushing stuff out, and then teeth coming back up, pushing it back up inside. Now, if you're doing that on 1/4 inch or 1/8 inch or 3/8 inch, even 1/2 inch wood, that's no problem. It'll clear out. But you start getting into 3/4 inch and thicker wood, it pushes the wood into the middle of the piece of wood, and it gets stuck in there, and then your blade just is heating it up. It's not kicking it out, it's sitting there heating it up, and then you've got a dull blade and it's going to break.
I agree. All right, well, Jeffrey Super said, great show, good videos from Bob. I've watched them all, so you get a comment there, Bob. Somebody,
cool.
He's watching your videos, and that question, Dave Sherman says, thank you, gentlemen, for a great show. Very nice. We appreciate it. We thank everyone for watching. Pretty well going to close out now this time. We went about 15 minutes over. We're trying to hold it down to within an hour, so we're pretty well on schedule. But I had Bob here tonight, and we had a few extra questions we needed the extra time, because I'm really interested in getting into Intarsia. So I plan on next week being over there at his house and helping him do that horse, and he's going to show me how to do it. Charles couldn't be here tonight. I hope he's doing well. As soon as I get off this show, as soon as I get off this show, I'm going to try to contact him and see how he's doing, and make sure he's doing all right. We miss you, Charles. Man, what can I say? Marion posted on in the Q&A, Bob is the greatest.
She's so right.
Yeah, Marion is Bob. I know Marion well, but her and Bob are really good friends. She's also on the Steve Goods forum. So,
but anyway, the one that I was talking about that does all the Intarsia, that was afraid of gaps, and now she kicks ass.
Cool. So, we hope you get better. Charles, hope to see you next week. For right now, that's pretty well going to wrap it up. I want to thank Bob once again. And I do want to say one quick thing about Bob. I called Bob literally this afternoon, probably around noon or 1 o'clock, I think it was.
Yeah, about 1.
Yeah, and put him on the spur of the moment. We had been trying to find somebody to do Intarsia, and I guess I just had this brain fart and couldn't figure out who to call. And then all of a sudden I'm thinking to myself, geez, Bob does Intarsia. Why? And I thought about that. So I want to just tell you thank you for coming on at the last minute. It's a lot of tremendous information that you've given us this afternoon. I really appreciate it. Thank you for John being on, Lee, Mark, and I'm Russ. Hope you get to feeling better, Charles. We're going to close this out, and just remember one thing, people. Keep the blade on the line.
There you go.